First of all, we just want to acknowledge that Maze shirt. We Frankie Beverly and Maze supremacists over here, man. So rest in peace, Frankie Beverly. We just celebrated the 45th anniversary of the recording of the Live from New Orleans album. Me and you done had a lot of conversations about that album because it's my theory that I was conceived to that album. It dropped on the January 9th, 1981, and I was born 9 months later. So, you do the math. But yeah, shout out to Frankie Beverly and Maze, man.
And we uncovered some synchronicities with that day that the album dropped.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna get into the cards later, but it's big synchronicity.
So just to open us up, Genuine got a song called Stingy. I'm very stingy with the people in my life that I care about, that I hold my cards close. But Ishi is somebody who I just always been impressed by from the day we met. Um, Her son is like the metric for how long we've been knowing each other because she was pregnant with her son when I met her. And just always had like a light about her. And she is a man among many things, community lover, community activist, a healer, an artist, a lover of the arts, Richmond ambassador.
Hey.
Shout out to the rich. We're gonna do a whole nother episode on the, you know how I feel about the rich, man. Shout out to the rich. But also a daughter, a sister, a mama, right? Um, and in addition to that, my personal astrologer and card reader, you know what I'm saying? My personal. So I'm just sharing it with y'all right now briefly, but I tend to keep that tucked, you know what I'm saying? So this is who I go into the huddle with. We look at playbooks. So yeah, I want to introduce y'all to Aisha Walker. Um, welcome to welcome to our conversation. Um, so I've been doing this. I've been focused on 1995 through 2005, and my theory is that it's the height of Black culture across the board. And I emphasize across the board because you'll have people that'll say, musically, they may feel like the 70s was stronger, right? Or they may point to another era in terms of Black art or Black literature. But I'm saying across the board, if you look at music, for every genre within music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, gospel, dance hall, soca, right? House, throw it all in there, right? If you look at TV, you look at film, you look at sports, you can look at social movements and politics, you look at business. We was talking about during this verses where the No Limit and Cash Money, these were two record labels that um, both got $30 million plus distribution deals as independent labels and maintain 100% ownership of their masters. I learned about all of that. I learned about all of that, what I just said, through Cash Money and No Limit, right? So even in this window, you got to talk about business and politics and that too, as like a high point. So with that, you and I had a conversation because we talk about astrology and that 30-year window also is comparable to what we call a Saturn return and the time that it takes for Saturn to get back to the position it was in when you was born, right? And so we are essentially experiencing the Saturn return of the height of Black culture from 2025 to 2035. We're going to be celebrating the Saturn return of some of the best just moments in Black culture, again, in my opinion. So with that being said, you and I were talking about, well, what if and I'm just setting this all up because I want you to also introduce it and talk about what you do. But because we looked at birth charts and cards and all of that, we had a conversation about what it would look like if we treated an album like a person and looked at the birth chart and looked at the cards and then looked at the birth chart and the cards for the artist. and see what type of relationship they got, if it's any synchronicity, etc. So we picked out Monica, Miss Thang album, which I had planned to just commemorate this week, leading up to November 22nd. Um, but so we're gonna get into that, but we're gonna start off just talking about like what you do. And I want you to, speak to it in your own language, and then we'll get into some Q&A.
Oh man, Dean, that was beautiful, man. I appreciate you big time. I appreciate the call. Like this is, the work that I do as an astrologer, as a card reader is like really near and dear to my heart. And it's been something that you have been a big part of. You have like even this invitation into this conversation just to align the love and appreciation for Black art, Black culture, and then to align it with the metaphysical tools that have been ours since the beginning of time. Like it means the world, and I so appreciate you big time, bro. Um,
Love.
yeah, and so the work that I do, yes, I my work is around holding healing experiences for people, really navigating hard times. So the work that I do would be imaginative. And also for myself, my family, for those really close to me, for my clients. I read birth charts and I read cards. And not the tarot deck. I don't really read the tarot, but what I do read is the 52 deck of playing cards. And so, which it has its roots in astrology and numerology. Um, some people believe that the tarot deck came from the 52 deck of playing cards, but the ancients, like ancient Africa, Egypt, Kemet, like they believed as above, so below. If you're born on a particular day, you carry that energy with you for the rest of your life. And that's a person, a thing, anything that was conceived, anything that was born on a particular day, whether it's a house that was built on this day, whether it's a contract that was created this day, whether it's an album that comes out this day, it's going to carry a vibration, it's going to carry an energy. And so, it was said in the Bible that the three magi looked to the stars and saw that Jesus was coming, So I believe that they were the astrologers of their time.
Hmm.
That this is an ancient wisdom that we can all have access to. I believe that the Most High left us with some blueprints to
Yeah.
figure out this thing called life. Like, and I've been using it in my daily practice. I give myself readings every day, every
Hmm.
week, every
Yeah.
month, every
Yeah.
year, every
Yeah.
7 years. I give
Yeah.
myself readings early and often, just to help me navigate the energies that's present.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And you actually queued up a question that I had just to go into our conversation. But I don't want us to miss what you said about the deck of cards. Because I remember in one of our conversations you talked about the correlation, the 52 cards, 52 weeks in a year, four suits, four seasons, all of that. Like I want you to speak to that too, just so people can see some of the correlation, because most of our relationship with a deck of cards is, shout out to all my spades players, Tonk, blackjack, poker,
Wow, you brought it
that,
back. Pity pat.
yeah, 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 all that.
Oh, man, RIP to my auntie Clarissa. Oh my gosh, she taught me all the games.
Mm, mm,
Um,
sure.
but yeah, it's just that. Like the deck of playing cards is correlated. It's a mirror to our modern calendar.
Mm,
So like January 1st is a King of Spades day. January 2nd is a Queen of Spades day. The third is Jack of Spades. It go down the line till you hit the diamonds, the clubs, the hearts. Just like you said, it's 52 weeks in a year. It's 52 cards in a deck.
mhm.
You got 4 seasons, you got 4 suits. You got 13 lunar cycles, you got 13 cards in each suit, right?
Yeah.
You got 12 months in a year and 12 court cards in each deck.
Mm,
So it's just like big correlation, big correlation. And that's ultimately what we're looking at. It's
right.
the calendar. the calendar energies like we would an almanac. Like
Yep.
this the day you
Yep.
gonna
Good
plant
point.
these seeds to harvest for this time. Like
Yep.
it's the same thing. It's just energetic.
That's a fact. Yeah, shout out to all our ancestors, all our grandma, granddaddy that, was farmers, that was growers, that they literally looked at planets, stars, these patterns to know when to plant something and know when something was growing. When you mentioned that 13, you also made me think about, because you mentioned Yeshua, this idea of 12 disciples and Yeshua, right, which is 13. And, I mentioned this book, Christianity Before Christ by John Jackson, but he talked about the correlation between that and like the sun, with Yeshua being the sun moving through 12 constellations. And the disciples all like mirror the constellations. You got some that were fishermen that represent Pisces,
Yeah.
the brothers that represent Gemini. We could go down the rabbit hole on that, right? Um, but I wanted to, and you talked about, us as card players, and some of us play bones, some of us, roll dice, and these are all
Divinations.
games that have their roots in divinations, right?
Yeah.
And again, for those that are into the Old Testament, the idea of casting lots, which was a process that was used to make decisions back then, which is very comparable to rolling dice,
Yeah.
right? And so because I know we talking to the folks who are watching this that may not be familiar with it, or their orientation to it may be more in the horoscope lane. Even though a lot of us celebrate, lunar and solar holidays, the Passover, harvest, Christmas, these are all holidays that are aligned with movements of the moon and the sun. Um, I wanted us to start off with, just trying to take some of the spooky and the mythology out of astrology, and in plain terms to just talk about our relationship and connection to the planets in the context of astrology. Like you've already used a term that people may not even be familiar with, which is a birth chart, right?
Mhm.
Maybe we could start with that.
Okay.
What does a birth chart, some people know they sign, some people may know they rising and they moon and all of that.
Yeah.
But what is a birth chart? What do that mean? And what is, when I got a birth chart, what is my relationship to these planets, and this in the house and that's in the, yeah, all
Got it.
that.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So a birth chart is like the moment anyone or anything is born. That moment, at that time, that day, that place, a birth chart is basically like a chart of all the planets pictured wherever they are in the constellations, right? So for me, the sun was at home in Leo when I was born. But the moon was also in a sign, Mercury was in a sign, Venus was in a sign, all of the planets were in a sign. And like it's big, it's like really sacred geometry and sacred mathematics, like big time. But
So when you, when you said the sun was in Leo, you're saying that you are
I'm a
Leo,
Leo.
right? That's
Yeah.
your main.
Yep.
So for the people that's watching, I'm a Libra, so that means the sun was in Libra when I was born. That's your sun sign.
So most people know their sun sign. Like
Mhm.
somebody asks, "What's your sign?" You're gonna say, what that sun sign is. But some people, like more often than before, people starting to know their rising signs and their moon signs. But you can go all the way down the line. It's very complex. And as vast as this universe is, as vast as the sky is, when you look up at the sky at night, like that's how deep astrology is. That's how deep cardiology is. That's how deep these metaphysical sciences are. They go on and on and on and on forever.
Without us going down the rabbit hole, because I know we can go. So you did just break down, you talked about the sun sign, which is, again, the sign that most people associate themselves with, right?
Mhm.
But also, can you just talk, briefly about the rising sign, what that is, the moon sign, what that means. But you did mention um, that there's these different planets, in these different places on your chart, and I know those houses represent and govern certain things. So to the extent that we could cover that without going too far in the rabbit hole, but just so we set the stage for what we about to talk about with this album. Rising sign, moon sign, Venus, this house, all of that. What is that on a birth chart, and what do that have to do with me?
What it got to do with me, right? That part. So the rising sign is very important. It's very important. Um, and in order to know your rising sign or even your moon sign, you need to know what time you were born, where you were born, like location, and also the day. And so when you have that information, then you can figure out what your rising sign is. And the rising, a lot of people say that the rising sign is how we come off to people.
Mhm.
It's like when we meet people for the first time, this is our representative. Like
Right.
you ain't gonna get all the way in.
Yeah,
Unless your
yeah,
rising is the same as like maybe your sun or your moon, you might get all the way
yeah,
from jump, but like
yeah.
it's the representative that we send out to get to know people and before they can come all the way in the dough.
That's TSA.
That's TSA. Rising sign is TSA. The moon sign is yeah, if we gonna go on that analogy, that's when you in. You all the way in.
Okay.
The moon oftentimes symbolizes our emotions, it's our impulse, it's like the part of us that reacts before we got time to think, before we got time to get things to a buffer.
Mm,
The moon is gonna come out. The moon also represents like the mother,
mm,
right? Because it's the moon and Cancer is pretty much synonymous, right?
mm.
Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. The moon represents Cancer, it represents the mother. So a lot of the times the moon is where we can look to our relationship with our mother. Also, we can it just it's the window in all the way in.
Let me jump in right quick. How did cancer become the mama of the? And this might take us, but how did you said it? So I got to ask the question. How did cancer become the mama of the zodiac?
I don't know. How did
Okay.
Cancer become the mother? It's the
What did
archetype.
that mean?
Every sign is an archetype. Like Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. Cap is the father of the zodiac. Capricorn and Saturn synonymous. Then you got Cancer and the moon. All right, we can go.
All right. All right. At least we broke down a little family tree right there. All right. So building on that, we talked earlier. I'm pretty sure we got some dice roller, bone playing, card players, watching this right now that probably have misconceptions about cardology. And you broke down the difference between the deck you used and the tarot, right? But I just want you to speak to that, like just to that idea of the deck that you use. You can speak to the system, and if you want to share any history on it, what is it? How does it work? And again, you my teacher with this, you know what I'm saying? You're the one who told me I got the six of clubs, I got the queen of heart, but break in the same way that we talked about the sun, moon, and the rising, just give people that basic structure of in the archetype with the card system.
I'm gonna do my best to
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
it basic. You might have to reel me in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, we don't do nothing basic. That wasn't the right word.
Oh man, so I touched on it a little bit already. Like the cards are the calendar. The cards, and I'm talking about the 52 deck of playing cards, the same cards you're gonna play spades with, same cards, like ace of spades, king of spades, queen of spades, jack of spades, all of them. That's what I'm talking about. And it's basically like it's wild because there's a way to just they call it quadrating a deck where it's a mathematical system where you lay the cards out, you shuffle them in a particular manner, you lay them out in a particular manner, and every time you lay out they call it a spread. Every time you lay out a spread, you can get a reading. If you want to find your card, you can just look up Destiny Card Calendar, and there's a chart, and you can find what day you were born on. I was born on the Jack of Hearts day. Dean was born on the Six of Clubs day. And just like in astrology, you got your Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, all the way down Pluto and beyond, right? Same thing with the cards. We got
Mhm.
our moon card, we got our sun card, we got our Mercury, Venus, Mars, all the way down the line. And so, in the same way that we can look to a birth card, a birth chart, we can look to what we call in the cards a life path. And that life path, coming back to that spread that I was talking about, we would read the spread to determine what someone's life path is. So I'm constantly giving myself and other people readings. I could give readings on an individual's path. I can also look at particular time frames.
Mm.
So,
And you mentioned the Jack of Hearts, which is something that you got in common with Monica.
right.
I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves, but just real quick before, and then we gonna go into the album. Can you talk about just briefly describe the archetype of
At a Jack of Hearts.
and look, and so you don't feel called out.
It's all good.
You can do Jack of Hearts and Six of Clubs. Do both of our just so people have an idea of what that could look like when you got a card assigned to you.
Yeah, man. So this touchy for me. It's
Mm,
very touchy for me talking about the my card, the Jack of Hearts, because it's literally called the Jesus Christ card. The love of the Jack of Hearts is so strong, it's so solid. Ain't nothing gonna break it down. It knows how to love through everything and anything. And that's for better or for worse. Sometimes that's like our superpower, sometimes that's our Achilles heel. So it's the jacks are the initiation into the royal suit. So we leave in the numbers now and we come into royalty.
yeah,
So the jacks are that bridge. And so
between the numbers and
between
the
the numbers
court.
and the court cards, yeah, exactly. So it's this liminal energy. But
Mhm.
I get touchy because the work that I do is very much around like holding space for people to heal. The Jack of Hearts is
Yeah,
the healer. If you touch the hem of Jesus'
yeah.
garment, you heal. Like that's the
Mhm.
energy that the Jack of Hearts card brings, but they also call it a card of martyrdom.
Because Jack of Hearts will sacrifice themselves
Hmm.
for the greater good.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know that description at the beginning kind of sound like we all need a Jack of Hearts. Just like that. That unconditional, unbreakable love. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm finding more and more that type of love, like a lot of people don't know it,
yeah,
don't know how to love, but like that's big Jack of Hearts energy. It's gonna love through all the bullshit. And then, I got Libra Moon, Libra Rising. That's also like big, like take care of everybody energy.
yeah,
Libra want to make sure everybody good.
yeah,
So I got Moon and Rising and Libra. I'm a Jack of Hearts. That's why I'll be like, oh my God, I'll be so over myself sometimes. Like I have to, my lessons are to learn how to let go in love and in relationships. Like I may have to like just let it go, cut it
mhm,
off. Also to take care of myself. Like
yeah,
it was the epiphanies that I had reading my cards that helped me understand the cycles that I need to break in my life.
yeah,
That's one of them, especially since my children came. Like they teach me all the time, like, oh, I got to take care of me and mine.
yeah, yeah.
I do, because
Yep.
I
Well, we're seeing it right now in real time.
we can tell, yeah, we seeing it. But I can so easily sacrifice what should be non-negotiable.
Yeah,
It's so easy for me. It's
yeah,
so easy. And so now I'm learning how to do something different.
yeah,
And I attribute that to, you know, I attribute that to the readings that I give myself that help me get myself back on track.
yeah. Yeah, and even and I know you want to say something briefly about Six of Clubs, but just to that point that you're making about Libras, as a Libra, I could attest that in addition to wanting to make sure everybody good, it's also very easy for us to come up with a story or a narrative about why we got to be that person. You know what I'm saying? Like why we got to be the one to
Right.
make sure everybody we good at crafting that story and to justify why we may have to um, sacrifice, have less, just so others can have more, essentially.
Yeah.
So
I'm so
yeah,
over that. I'm so over
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm over it. I'm
Hmm.
so over it. I want to be over it. I might not be fully over it, but I want to be over that.
You will be.
I say.
Yeah. All
Um,
right, real quick, six of clubs, and then we gonna go into the album
okay,
and Monica.
cool. Six of Clubs is they call that the John the Baptist card.
Damn. Okay.
Uh it's
And
so
he
much
and
I
he
want to
baptized and he baptized your
right,
shit. Yeah.
right. Exactly. Exactly that. Which speaks to some compatibility stuff between me and you. It's the death and the rebirth under the influence of like Pluto, Scorpio. We'll get into that later, but that's just a prime example of how like there's karmic compatibility between people and anything with a birthday.
Mm,
And that's just like a little preview into our connection.
yeah.
But the Six of Clubs, they call it the psychic card too. It's just a card of knowing. Sixes in the deck remind us to slow down and to listen to the little whispers that the Most High give us. And they call it also a purpose finding card. And it's powerful because it sits on the Neptune line. And Neptune, like when we start getting further and further and further away from the sun, stuff start getting real spiritual.
Yeah.
And the planet Neptune is associated or is synonymous with Pisces. So Six of Clubs comes with Piscean energy.
Mm,
Pisces just be knowing stuff. My mother's a Pisces, which is why I'm like this. She knew stuff and it used to get on my last nerve. Um, which is ultimately how I got into astrology because she kept saying stuff about people's signs. And my mom she didn't study astrology. She just studied people or she just had the inner knowing. And she kept being right more and more and more and more. And then I started listening after I kept being wrong over and over and over again. But it's that energy that you come with. It also sit on the Saturn line. That's Big Daddy Saturn, who wants us to put in the work to actualize our dreams. It wants us to be disciplined. It wants us to cross our T's, dot our I's, do all the things, take no shortcuts, do the stuff that needs to get done so that we can polish ourselves, refine ourselves in the ways that we need to. So it's both like the dream of Neptune and the structure of Saturn. That's a really potent energy to sit in. It's
mm,
like you get to bring the both in.
yeah.
It's a dope card, man. There's so much more to say, but I'm gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best to keep it there.
All right. So let's talk about the album. Miss Thing turned 30 this year. Um dr- uh Monica, just to talk about the album and just some background on it, and then we'll go into the chart and the cards. Uh, what always stand out to me about this album, number one, is Monica had just turned 15
Yes.
when it dropped, when it dropped, right? So that means she had to be 13, 14, maybe even 12 when she was recording it. And when you listen to the album, it sounds like a grown woman. Like she don't even sound like she in her late teens. You know what I'm saying? Like she sound like a grown woman on this album as a teenager, vocally and even the content. And then even when you look at some of the visuals from that album, they didn't even present her at the age that she was. She looked older even in the videos, how they dressed her, how they, the video treatments. So I'm saying all that to say that this was for somebody that age and even older than that, it's still, even if she was 20, it still would have came off like a very grown album for somebody that age. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that being said, we looked at the birth chart and the cards for this album. And I remember you earlier you talked about the Cancer being the mama of the zodiac. And we know this is a this was a person this album would have been this album would be a Cancer. So yeah, just break that down. Let's talk about, let's start there. Let's talk about the birth chart, the Cancer, those elements of it, and then let's talk about the cards and what that tells us about this album.
Okay. So, album release date July 18th, 1995. That's a Cancer woman. So, remember, Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. And this remind me of my cousin, like my little cousin. She a grown ass woman, but we was like little. She was like 3 years old. I'm probably 5 or 6 years old. We sitting on the couch, and she asking me, Aisha, how many kids you think you gonna have? And
Hmm.
I was like,
Yeah.
my daddy sitting right behind us, like, what is you talking about, kids? But she been thinking about kids since she was a little bitty baby.
Yeah.
So it's that energy. It's the mama. The way
Yeah.
she played with her baby dolls is like she was taking care of kids.
Yeah.
She liked that to this day. So motherly. The archetype of Cancer is the crab. It got the hard outer shell. Some of them crabs got spikes that will fuck you up. It got the
Yeah.
claws because it got to protect all that juiciness that's inside of it. It's that soft, juicy crab meat inside of it. And to me, that symbolizes like the children, the emotions, the softness that's inside of all of us that has to be protected.
Hmm.
Oh, like, yeah, that's mama. That's mama, that's grandmama, that's big mama, that's the mamas of the zodiac.
Hmm.
And yeah, so the sun was in Cancer when this album was released on July 18th. The moon, now, the moon was in Aries,
Okay.
and Aries comes with Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. This is where the youthfulness come in, right? It's still young. Like Monica was really young, like, which is so interesting to me that she was that young sounding like that. Like she was an old, old, old soul. I know we're not talking about Monica yet, but we still talking about the album Miss Thang. And if Miss Thang was a person, then she would have an Aries moon. And Aries is it's the youngest sign of the zodiac. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It's head first. It's gonna go head first. It's gonna be impulsive. It's gonna react first, ask questions later, if it's gonna even ask the questions. Like
Hmm.
it is impulsive. But Aries is also associated with the planet Mars, which is war, aggression, fighting, fucking. It's passion, it's determination. It's like it's the stuff that gotta move. It's gonna get stuff done.
Yeah.
Aries is about that action. And then Virgo rising, if Miss Thang was a person, she would be Virgo rising. And that's where we get into like the perfection of Virgo. Virgo wants things to be meticulous, wants things to be right. Virgo needs order and structure, and it needs to make sure it's just meticulous, it's neat, whatever it means to the Virgo.
Yeah.
Like my auntie, she needed things to be a certain way, and if it wasn't that way, you can get your ass the hell on.
Hmm.
You can
Yeah.
like I need it to be this way, but Virgo is the virgin. It's pure. It is Virgo is also sacrificial too, in a sense that it wants
Yeah.
to it's the healer.
When you talked about your auntie, it made me think about that. Because we also pulled some content from the album to, see where it was some correlation between the birth chart and the content. And we was talking about your auntie saying it's got to be a certain way you can get the hell on. Monica got a song in here called "Like This and Like That," and she got a line in there where she bet it's like this or like that. I'm moving on without you. You know what I'm saying? um, got a song called "Get Down" where he said you got to get down with me or you won't be around.
Yeah.
So the content definitely had that. It had your auntie energy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that between the Aries and the Virgo, like that's what it's gonna do. Like Aries is gonna be about self.
yeah,
Virgo just need things to be a certain way.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
And then you had mentioned something when we talked about Neptune, and Neptune having old energy, and then that there was some Pisces in there as well. Is something that you saw. I might have.
Nah, you're right.
Okay.
That's getting into the cards. So we
Okay.
get if Miss Thang were a person, she would be a ten of clubs.
Okay.
Something I didn't talk about yet is the planetary ruler, right? In the cards, we look to the card, we look to the planet that rules our zodiac sign, right?
Okay.
So in this case, Miss Thang is Cancer. What rules Cancer is, you remember? The moon.
The moon. Yeah.
Moon.
Yeah.
So we look to the moon sign, and the moon sign to the Ten of Clubs is the Queen of Hearts, which is also just so happen to be your planetary ruler,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, so the Queen of Hearts energy is ancient. It really is. Like that's another psychic energy because it's down there right next to that Six of Clubs, not directly next to it, but it's on that same line as that Six of Clubs. But it sits in a spot that is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is the Neptune row, Neptune column. So it's Neptune times two. Neptune's times Neptune.
Yeah.
So you know how Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is the last sign. Why is Pisces relevant? Is because Pisces and Neptune are synonymous.
Right.
So if we're talking about the oldest sign of the zodiac, which is the same as that Neptune energy, it's like that. It makes sense that that album sound like that because she representing a lineage of mothers who've come before her. It's an old energy. It's
Mm.
like my cousin sitting on the couch at 3 years old talking about
Ask you
how
about
many
the
kids
baby.
we gonna have, like how we gonna take care of the family, like what's gonna be our legacy as mothers.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, girl, what's going to be our legacy as mothers,
Yeah.
as family.
Yeah.
So it's Miss Thang is a young mama,
It's old.
but from
It's old
old
by nature.
old energy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's been so basically like what's crazy about that is you basically saying that whether we look at birth chart or we look at the cards, based on when this album was released by nature, card or birth chart, it got old energy. And what's wild about that is what they named it. The name it Miss Thing, coming from the South. But you know this too, because the rich just the South or the West.
What's up?
But you know what somebody said when the elder called a young lady a Miss Thing, she really was referring to her as being like grown. Like she was acting older than her age. She was
Right.
doing something that was considered grown
Mhm.
to an elder.
Right.
So to me, it's wild that it carried that title, and then between the birth charts and the cards, it by nature got old energy. In addition to Monica, who we gonna talk about next, vocally, her spirit is also grown and old on the album too. So the fact that it's all backed up by the cards in the chart is wild.
It is wild. And
Yeah.
and I always see a lot of correlations between like when I do my own birth chart. I'm reading my own birth chart and I'm reading my cards. It just be a lot of energy that's just repetitive. A lot of
Yeah.
lessons, a lot of synchronicities, a lot of things just repetitive. It's like, oh, you need to hear it over here. You need to hear it over there too.
Yeah, yeah. And then before we go to Monica though, it was something that you mentioned. You saw you talked about this project being supremely protected, and
Mm-hmm.
you saw the presence of
King of Spades.
powerful older men as you were looking at the cards too. You want to and you can speak to what you saw in that, and then I'll add to it, but what actually happened with the album.
Right. And so this is interesting too, because when I read cards for people, I don't always know what I can read cards, but I don't always know the context. So this is
Mm,
one of the situations where I'm like, um, looking to you around what's the context. But what I saw was, in the life path of Miss Thang, I saw the King of Spades. Now, they call that the God the Father card. That is the most powerful card in the deck. Anybody born on January 1st is the King of Spades. I show King of Spades birth card. Some people have the King of Spades planetary ruler card. Some people just have the King of Spades in their life path. In this context of the album, Miss Thang got King of Spades in the life path in the Venus position. Venus rules our love, our relationships, our family, our home. Um, and so the King of Spades in Venus means that there's protection there, supreme protection, godlike protection. But the spades symbolize the elders of the deck. The kings are men, powerful men,
Mm.
like mentors or father figures or just very, very powerful men. Um, yeah, when I said that, I was curious about what you was gonna come up with that King of Spades being in Venus, because first of all, it means that anytime we see a King of Spades, whatever the fuck we want, we getting. Especially if we embody the energy that is like the God energy that is rightfully ours, then
Hmm.
we get whatever we want.
Yeah.
Is as long as we wear that crown in the ways that we meant to.
And Venus deal with love, right? Because
Love,
you saw that
relationships,
in.
friendships. It's all things that are traditionally feminine.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Um, and then also this, I don't want to gloss over the fact that you said the spades are the elders of the deck, and the fact that we got a whole game that is based on the idea of the spade being the strongest suit in the deck. So I don't want us to gloss over that correlation. Shout out to all my spades players.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a trajectory in the cards. The youngest soul is the Ace of Hearts.
hmm.
Look at her popping up like she a young soul. You know you ain't no young soul. You done been here. The youngest soul is the Ace of Hearts, and then the
Yeah.
oldest soul is the King of Spades. In the cards, it means that you've been through every life path, every single card if you are the King of Spades. So them babies, when they born and they say that that baby done been here before,
Mm,
that baby has been here before.
got you.
That baby older than you. Now, what
Right.
it's like when you gotta raise a child that soul is older than yours.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, it's that energy. My kids' soul in the cards are older than mine.
Oh yeah, we know that. We can see that.
You think so, baby?
All right, so just to add to what you said about the protection and the older men in this project, the album was released on Rowdy Records, which was founded by Dallas Austin. Dallas Austin is one of those producers that doesn't get mentioned when we talk about like the Jermaine Dupri's and the Timberlands and the Pharrells and all these other. But in terms of his impact, um, who's the careers that he's been involved and instrumental in, particularly in Atlanta, which we know Monica is from, um, legendary. And so he, and I think what's relevant in this context though is that he put out a lot of youth acts. Like if you remember ABC, Another Bad Creation, Crisscross.
Aisha.
Exactly. At the playground, you know what I'm saying? TLC, Crisscross is Jermaine Dupri. But even Illegal that had Mr. Malik and Jamal. All these are all very young, these are young people, right? When they're with Dallas Austin. And so Monica is a part of that. Right. Again, we saying she got to be around 13, 14 when she recorded this album. So right off top, his presence in her career and in this project um, had to take on some paternal father figure like uh, role in the project. And then of course with him being Roddy Records being his label, um, I think it just reinforces that idea. In addition to that, L.A. Reid, who we know from LaFace Records, was also a part of Rowdy Records at this time. So those are the when you talked about powerful older men, they would definitely be the ones that came up that were involved in that project. So let's talk about let's talk about Monica now, who we know is a Scorpio. Let's start on the birth chart side and then talk about the cards. Now we're talking about Monica, and then we'll close out talking about like the correlation between Monica and the album, and then also some of the album content too.
If you gonna let us do this?
What's wrong, beautiful?
Did she say no? You heard her? You gonna let us do this? You gonna let us do this? Yes. Please?
It sounds like we got a yes that time.
Okay, okay, cool. So Monica, her card, she was born on a Jack of Hearts day. Monica,
Okay.
Jack of Hearts,
Which is your card?
which is my card,
Yeah.
right? So, and then the album, Ten of Clubs, Queen of Hearts. I also didn't talk about the Ten of Clubs of the album, which is the main card of the album, which is ten's rule success. We know that hello, success with the masses.
Yeah.
The Ten of Clubs is the teacher. It's gonna shine through all forms of communication, or it can. It can
Yeah.
shine through all forms of communication, teaching, learning, speaking, writing, all
Yeah.
of that stuff. So it's a really potent card, and it sits all the way at the top of the grand solar spread. So it comes with that sun energy. The sun is gonna get its shine on. It's
Yeah.
gonna be seen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be seen through the cloud. It
Yeah.
might be diffused, but you're gonna see and feel the sun, and you're gonna feel when it's not there. So it's that energy. So Monica is a Scorpio,
Synonymous with Pluto.
synonymous with Pluto, synonymous. Now we're gonna get into the houses, right?
Yeah.
Synonymous with the houses. The Pluto house is the eighth house. Can you hear me all right with baby girl?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I saw looking at going back to Miss Thang's chart, with Miss Thang's chart, I saw that the moon is in the eighth house. Remember, the moon is the mother.
Right.
The eighth house is synonymous with Scorpio and Pluto. So
Okay.
we can look to the eighth house to tell us about our mamas. Miss Thang's mama is a Scorpio because it's in the Scorpio house. So it's so wild to me that we can look to the moon and see the mama energy in there. It's already written.
Miss Thing's mama.
Miss Thang's mama, yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Thang's mama is all up in there, and she's a Scorpio. So
Mm.
Scorpio is one of my favorite signs of the zodiac. It's intense. It's very, very intense. Scorpio, eighth house, Pluto, those are all like damn near synonyms, right?
Okay.
So Monica being a Scorpio, Scorpio is gonna bring up all the stuff that's typically taboo. Scorpio is it's the sign of the death and rebirth. It wants to bring all things to the surface. Things that may be traumatic,
Mm.
things that may be hard to deal with. A lot of people talk about sex, death, and taxes. It's
Hmm.
Scorpio, the stuff folks don't want to really spend time talking about or thinking about.
Yeah.
Scorpio is gonna bring it front and center.
Yeah.
Scorpio gonna bring it front and center because it needs to be dealt with. Scorpio wants to, it damn near Scorpio Pluto placement is damn near gonna like torture us into paying attention to that stuff so that we can face it and do what we need to do to to go through that death and rebirth so that we can, it's like the fiery baptism that we go through
Yeah.
because there's an evolution for Scorpio that it's gone through the fire, it's gone through the fire, it's gone
Yeah.
through the mud, it's
Yeah.
burned down to the ashes, and then the new firebird emerges. That's the energy of Scorpio. That's the energy of Pluto. That's the energy of eighth house. That's the energy that Monica was born into.
That's Monica.
That's Monica.
Yeah.
That's Monica. And so it's interesting too because Monica is also a jack of hearts, right? And so everything that I talked about myself, me and Monica got that going on together.
Yeah.
She is I would imagine that she can love the unlovable. She can love very hard and
Yeah.
look past a lot of the things that she probably shouldn't be looking past.
On that point, just real quick, and I'm not speaking like I was in the details of this, but I do know for a good period of time she was in a relationship with C Murder, Free C Murder, um, while incarcerated, right? obviously they got together before he got incarcerated, but like during that time. Um, and so when you talked about, being able to love in difficult circumstances, that was one of the things that I immediately thought about.
Yeah. It's when I read up on the Jack of Hearts, it's been said that the Jack of Hearts will do silly things in love, like choose people who are totally unworthy to watch its love heal. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so like the energy of the Jack of Hearts, it's got a spiritual life path because it has like these two nines in the life path, which symbolize the nine of spades is also similar to Pluto, similar to Scorpio, that death and rebirth energy. Nine of spades, we see that as a death and rebirth. So Jack of Hearts need to learn how to cut people off, especially in matters of love and relationships.
Yeah.
And also I think it's also these twos in here. So remember I talked about planetary rulers.
Hmm.
When you born on a day, when you born on a particular day, we can find your birth card. What is it, Mama? Monica's birth card is the Jack of Hearts. You gonna just wait until I start talking to do that? Monica's birth card is the Jack of Hearts. Okay. But we look to the planet that rules Scorpio to figure out
Hmm.
what her planetary rulers are.
Yeah.
Scorpio is unique because it's really prominent that it has two planetary rulers, Mars
And Pluto.
and Pluto. So her Pluto card is the two of diamonds, and her Mars card is the two of hearts. Now, in cardology and the cards and destiny cards, whatever y'all want to call it, the twos are it's the couple, it's partnerships, especially two of hearts. That two of hearts, boy, that two of hearts energy is cold because it sits Venus Neptune. So you bring Venus and Neptune together. Venus exalted in Pisces. And Neptune go hand in hand. Like a love with Venus and Neptune, like two of hearts can probably make up some shit and fall in love with it.
Hmm.
Like the person can be right in front of your face. But you got two of hearts energy, you can probably make up stories about who they are, fall in love with your story.
Hmm.
And then be like when the story be disrupted and there's a rude awakening and a sobering, that's when like, oh, okay, them nines might kick in. Like, actually, never mind. I don't want this. I thought I wanted this, but I'm
Yeah,
asleep. I'm woke now. This ain't it, right? Which Neptune is the planet of, it's the dreams, it's the illusion, and it's a thin line, right? Neptune energy is thin line between what is psychic and what's disillusioned, what's the word? Delusioned.
yeah.
It's a thin line because it's the both and. Pisces can also rule deception, Neptune deception. So that's like what I mean. Part of that is like that energy can deceive itself,
Hmm.
make up some stuff, believe it itself. Not only being like that way towards other people, but when it comes to the love and the relationships, that's something that I notice within myself of how I can get down in matters of love. And that I imagine that because these are Monica's planetary rulers, that it's like she takes on the path of the two of hearts and the two of diamonds. Two of diamonds being her Pluto card is something around the business partnerships or dealings, business dealings, right? There's something there. And that Pluto again wants to facilitate this death and rebirth. Out with the old way of doing stuff in with the new. And it's going
Hmm.
to challenge us and push us to the edge until we have no choice but to break and come into the new, which is, I want to take it back to Miss Thang, the album, right?
Yeah.
And looking at Miss Thang's Pluto card. Miss Thang's Pluto card is the three of diamonds. We read the Pluto and the card that comes after together, which is called the results. You do the work that Pluto asks you to do, Pluto moves out of the way, gives you a congratulations, pats you on the back, and it gives you a gift.
Okay.
And the gift that Miss Thang, the Pluto and results card for Miss Thang is the three of diamonds and the ace of spades, right? The three of diamonds is that's a card of like supreme financial creativity. They call it the entrepreneurship card.
Hmm.
So it's going to disrupt some old ways of thinking and being when it comes to the money and the finances and the business dealings. And I know you was talking a little bit about that, or a lot of bit about that the last conversation we had about Miss Thang and that three of diamonds.
Yeah, I mean, between what you're saying about the three of diamonds and the two of clubs and being successful, I mean the ten of clubs being successful, this album went 3 times platinum. It's triple platinum. And that's a debut album for a teenager. And even to that piece that you're talking about in terms of the shifts or the transition in relationship. The second album she put out was on Arista. It wasn't on Rowdy. Because I guess Rowdy Records ended up folding it because it was being distributed through Arista, I believe. I'll confirm that. But for whatever reason, that partnership severed and Rowdy Records folded, and then Monica went with Arista. And I think Clive Davis and all of them was over there at that time. So that piece that you was talking about, like business dealings and moving on from, where she started to the next um, chapter. And I think she even probably experienced even greater success in doing that because that was the album that had Boy Is Mine and Angel, and that's when that's kind of like when that connection with her and Brandy became a thing. I think early on they were already starting to, as industries tend to do, pit artists, particularly women, against each other. And but they were counterparts. They're a year apart. um, I think what they lane and their directions were completely different. Brandy had more of a. I always felt like Brandy had a girl next door type of, even in the way they presented her. You know what I'm saying? It was like girl next door type. I want to be down, baby, brokenhearted. It was like that blueprint that they took and used with Britney Spears and Aguilera and all that to me started with Brandy, right? But then when you look at Monica, it was like it was just strictly edge. You know what I'm saying? Like it was edge.
That Aries moon,
You see what I'm saying? Like her shit was
Al
edgy.
Scorpio.
She had videos with leather on, and she had the short, the Halle Berry cut, and like her first single was on a hip hop record. That was LL Cool J,
Oh, wow.
"Backseat of My Jeep,"
Mhm.
right? You remember that song?
Very.
And that was on the name of that album was 14 Shots to the Dome. So they took this album, they took this sample from what was like one of LL Cool J's more edgier albums and used that for our R&B single for a teenager. So it just lets you. I'm saying all that to say like the different lanes that they both were in.
Mhm.
But by the time that second album came around, she older now. She with Arista. She with a bigger machine. That's when, to me, you start to see this either them pitting her against Brandy or pairing her with Brandy or associating her with Brandy. It kind of started after that shift that you're talking about with the business dealer. So
Yeah, I mean, it's that three of diamonds entrepreneurship card. That the blessing that comes after the three of diamonds. So the Pluto card is three of diamonds. The result card is the ace of spade, which to bring it full circle, it is the card of the magi, the three magi who looked to the stars and saw Jesus was coming. And it's like that card can penetrate the secrets of the universe. Like when we think about metaphysics, that's often the card that is represented. Like you look at that card when you play in spades, like
yeah,
what other card looks like the ace of spades.
yeah.
And
And on that point, just now you brought up spades. When you play spades, you generally are taught to you play all your aces first, except for the ace of spades. The only time you would play your ace of spade early, you got a significant amount of spades in your hand and you just about to run it. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise, you play all your aces first, except for the ace of spade.
okay,
Yeah. So,
I gotta see you play spades for real.
oh man.
This is crazy because the nine of spades and the ace of spades, the energy is very similar because it's like a death and rebirth. The nine
Yeah,
of spades is the end. This the end of the road. It's time to graduate to something new. But the ace of spades is like this is the beginning, right?
yeah,
Beginning. So it's like coming into new. It's the Phoenix Firebird energy. But of course, before the rebirth, we gotta experience a death.
yeah,
So whether it's the ego death, whatever it is, like it don't have to be literal. It can be, but it don't have to be.
yeah.
So this is interesting to me because once again, that Scorpion energy is coming up. It's
Hmm.
like the album gives birth to her. It's like album gives birth to herself.
Yeah,
Gives her this opportunity for a rebirth experience. But also
mm.
Brandy was born on the Ace of Spades day. Which makes me wonder, like, if we come back to the fact that the three of diamonds, the ace of spades meant to be read together. The three of diamonds is the Pluto card. The results is the ace of spade. Does that mean that this album, this thing, kind of laid like set up the stage for this relationship with Brandy?
Yeah,
Then when I look at compatibility between Brandy and Monica, like it's a Jupiter connection. Jupiter is the giver of gifts in the zodiac,
mm.
the largest planet in the zodiac. And the fact that Monica got these twos in there, like coming back to the energy of the two, right? The twos want to do this
Partnership,
together, partnerships,
and
twos,
they on tour together right now.
they on tour together right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Twos want to do this. But
yeah,
I think that there's a medicine that comes with the two that is the prerequisite, like it's like which is the one.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I talk a little bit about this when I got this video where I'm talking about, me going through these twos in my life path.
Mm.
But what I'm noticing, like with them, is like I need to really value self first. I gotta remember that yes, there are two twos together. They make up two ones.
Right.
And it's important to stand and honor self, value self, respect self before coming into the partnership. And when you can, that's like the fact that she's the two of diamonds, two of hearts as well. It's like that is her death and rebirth that she gets to have. And then her partnerships get elevated to the next level in her life
Yeah,
when she can go through that Phoenix rising energy. And that's what I'm noticing with me too in my life. It's like if more rabbit hole stuff, and I'm gonna stop after this.
yeah,
I talked about Miss Thang and that setting the stage for Brandy. I'm for Brand, yeah, for Brandy and Monica, that connection. But also like coming back to Monica, if the Pluto results are meant to be read together. I want to give respect to that in her chart, her path, and the cards is like two of diamonds, jack of spades. The two of diamonds is the financial partnerships. And you do them right. You do them right, which means you got to cross your T's, dot your I's in business. You got to make sure that you're
yeah,
not getting lost in the sauce in business. Um, and in the financial partnerships, but they meant to take you to the next level.
yeah,
And the next level is that Jack of Spades. The Jack of Spades is the most creative Jack in the deck. All Jacks are creative. All Jacks are the initiation into the royal suit. But this one is the Jack of all Jacks. That
yeah,
becomes her blessing. The Jack of Spades is supreme creativity, but it's also the spiritual initiate. It's an initiation into a higher spiritual lifestyle. It's both. On the lower side, it's like you gotta hide your kids, hide your wife. You gotta hide your shit because you can get robbed under that energy.
you can get jacked.
You get jacked under the jack of spades. But she got in a blessed position.
Yeah, yeah.
Got in, which is different. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But it's a lot of powerful, powerful, uh, powerful story all up in these cards and all up in these charts.
First of all, I think anybody that's watching this agree with me and just saying that you raw as hell right off top. Let me just say that not only just for the content that you gave us, but also, being in full mama mode while you doing it. So shout out to you. I do want to bring it full circle because both of us went into our own version of rabbit holes throughout the process. But I want to synthesize all of it just to give people the big headlines and the correlations of it, right? And then so you just correct me if I get off track with the notes that I try to take with all of this, right?
Okay.
So at the top of it, we know that this album is a Cancer woman because it dropped July 18th, 1995. It's a 30-year-old Cancer
Yep.
woman, right? Which we know we associate with maternal energy, being the mama, protection, and everything we know about the Cancer in terms of having a hard shell, but also being, you know, tenderonis on the inside. And so they got something, valuable to protect.
Yeah.
And we know that it's a young mama with old energy, right? That it also channels um, a lineage of of women. We know that it's a Queen of Heart album, right? Which double downs on the mama energy. We got some psychic ability in there. Again, it's speaking to the lineage, being able to tap on a deep level into the lineage of women, right? I'm doing good so far.
You're doing great. You're doing great. The Queen of Hearts is the loving mother. Yep.
The loving mama. And then we know that it's also a Ten of Clubs album, which meant that it's masterful in communication, that it has success with large groups, also big Leo energy associated with the Ten of Clubs, right? To encapsulate all of that builds up to the fact that this album, it was already destined to be a Miss Thing album because by nature, it had all the things that we associate with grown woman energy, right? And then when we come down to Monica, we're looking at Scorpio, and Scorpio is the mama of the Cancer woman,
It's the Mama Miss Thang.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Because it's in the eighth
The
house.
moon is in the eighth house. The moon represents our mother. Moon synonymous with Cancer.
Got it. So Monica is Miss Thing's mama
Yep. And on an astrological level, yes,
on the astrological level,
it's spelled
right?
out. Girl,
Which we said makes sense because she had that energy vocally on the album, right? She came off like she was somebody mama on that album. Especially on her remake of Let's Straighten It Out, which we know is some very OG blues. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a deep OG blues pocket.
let's straighten it out.
You know what I'm saying? Only unks and aunties, you know what I'm saying? Understand that. Um, or even just her remake of Do You Still Care by SOS Band. That's also like real deep OG pocket, to go in as a teenager. I can't emphasize that enough to be 14 years old and to execute a remake of an SOS Band song. Shout out Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. That's also very mama-like, energy. And then we talked about the Jack of Heart, right, which we associate with Yeshua or martyr-like figures, individuals that make, great sacrifices for the larger community, the larger good. You're looking at one on the screen right now, our lovely guest. And then I think, the last thing, to emphasize um, we talked about the Two of Diamond, the death and the rebirth, right? Um, and that this was an opportunity for Monica to be reborn through the production of this album.
It's both. Yep. It's
Yeah,
Monica through her own rebirth, death and rebirth, and then the album too um that facilitated that as well.
man. Well, there y'all have it.
You did
Um,
well. That was good. You did a good job.
I was taking notes, man. I was taking notes. I'm still a student.
G-O-O-D-J-O-B-A.
I'm still a student, man. But now I appreciate you, man. I think like I would love to look at some other albums and go through the process again because I just found it's just wild to me that it ain't really wild because then it just to me it give you another lens to look at as to why something um was so successful, right? We see that it had this level of alignment, right, between the artist, between the album, the time that it was released. Um, you kind of just get to understand the success of it and why it landed and why it resonated with people um, in the way that it did. So yeah, I definitely want to look at some other projects and revisit the exercise. But appreciate you. Salute to you. You brilliant at this.
Thank you.
Um, if people want to uh, follow your work and want to learn more from you, how do they do that? Where they find you at?
Yep, you can find me on IG at Ishi Taught Me, Eshii Taught Me, and also AishaWalker.com. Dean, you are dope AF to me, man. Like I call Dean the king of context because I get to experience things in ways that I would never be able to without the context that you provide, the way you study culture, the way you study history, the way you study, so much. Like you a deep listener, and then you always zooming out and looking at the aerial view, and so much of what's comprised in the aerial view when you break stuff down. Like, I so look forward to your journey as you delve deeper into metaphysics and cardology, astrology, because I feel like you already dope. You already dope. So when you came to me with this, like it warmed my heart so much. I so appreciate you big time. You have really challenged me as a reader, and and you've been part of the experience of stretching me to like deepen my craft and sharpen my sword. You know what I'm saying? So like I appreciate you big time. I think that you are one of the most brilliant people I know. And you dope, man.
Man, I
I think
appreciate
I said
you.
that already. And you
Appreciate
dope as shit, man.
Man,
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
big
Appreciate
blessings. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for this invitation.
I appreciate you. And we calling this thing Black Saturn. And that's in reference to what we talked about at the top of the conversation, which is the Saturn return of all things Black culture from 1995 to 2005. So yeah, we hope y'all will continue to stay tuned and definitely follow the work of Aisha. Because I just say personally, we did a lot of context at the beginning to demystify astrology and cardology, and the things that I always tell people is that you know consult it, sit with it, listen to it. If it ain't accurate, scrap it. You know what I'm saying? Like if it don't resonate, if it just sound completely left field, right? But anybody who know me, know that I'm a student, that I like Ishi said, I'm a dig for the context and just from one rabbit hole to the next, right? And so it was just so much of when we started having the conversations about the chart and the cards, I just couldn't argue with it. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't. I couldn't debate with it, and still can't debate with it. You know. So yeah, salute to you and just being brilliant in your craft and always staying on it, like never getting complacent and just continuing to sharpen and to stay on top of your game. So with that being said, we appreciate you and let you get back to mama mode. You've been managing, you've been juggling through the whole conversation, but did it masterfully. So
God
yeah,
bless you.
yeah.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
All right.
Peace.